because it's needed, service where there is no benefit particularly to yourself or no intention of benefit for yourself. And this, there is no greater love or feeling of connection than when you give true service truly. And so when your energy vibration is higher, your health is better, your energy levels are better, you're able to take it out there into the world. The last thing I want to do, am I okay for time? I don't want to go into this too much because some of you will probably know it, but I just want to link in the different things we're doing to the different chakras. So in this diagram there are 7 main chakras. There are many more chakras in the body than that, and I think we're only just beginning to understand them. It is something that is said will be given to us in the next era as much more information and knowledge, working with the energies of the chakras. So just to try to put it into this framework, because I know for some people this is a framework that they understand. So if you're working with the crown, with Sahasrara, this is where your meditation, your connection to unity, to be. Okay, so when you meditate, you're working with your crown chakra. Your Ajna, your third eye, your silent witness, intuitive living, your study, your ancient wisdom. So when you're studying Theosophy, when you're coming to talks, when you're using your intuition to guide your life, you're connecting in with this inner wisdom. And have I given that talk here? There's a whole talk on developing that intuitive way of living. Visuddhi, your throat. Visuddhi, we are the throat chakra of the planet. Humanity is said to be the throat chakra of the planet. We are here to bring the energies of the higher, the father, the mother, together as the son of God, if you like. Through our throat is one of our most powerful mediums, and it is said that at this time there are many people developing the throat chakra. And what your throat chakra, as it starts to vibrate, you are able to speak your truth in a way that is kind and compassionate. When you combine the energy of the heart with the throat, it is very powerful. And this is, it's also linked in with listening. And the article I've written on right relations is very much about listening. Listening within means that you are able to truly listen to other people. And this is also linked to the throat. And this is where the ancient practice of chanting, this is where singing, this is why singing enlightens us. You think what singing does for your vibration, or when a group of people sing together, or even the effect on our vibration when we listen to other people singing. Because this is what I was talking about, sound is very much going to be a modality that we work with in terms of energy in times to come. Your anahata, your heart, and this is not just your physical heart, this is your subtle energy of your heart chakra. This is where right relations, harmless living, compassion, unconditional love, these qualities come from the heart. In heart math research, they've found now that the heart gives out an electromagnetic field, something like 5,000 times more magnetic than the brain, 100 times more the field, I can't remember the figures, the field, it's an incredible field. This electromagnetic radiation from your heart goes into every single cell in your body and affects every cell of your body and affects the vibratory level of every cell in your body and turns DNA on and off. This vibratory energy from your heart is most affected by your thoughts and feelings. So every time your thoughts and feelings are positive and joyful and self-affirming, and we're looking for the silver lining and we're forgiving, all of these qualities, it's literally affecting every single cell in your body. It's switching on the DNA that positively helps us and turning off any negative DNA that's there from our genetics and our history. And they're starting to find that the energy of the heart, this electromagnetic field, they can, I think they can measure it now. And they're starting to, they'll get to a point where they can, look at a person in terms of energy. We're getting there. And this energy from the heart, they're also finding that the heart is the place where we first receive information. You know, we think of taking information in through our senses, and we think of the brain as being the processor. You know, the information comes in through the eyes, it's processed, we have thoughts about it. They're actually finding now that we take in information from the heart before the brain, and the heart feeds it to the brain. So we're intuitional before we're intellectual. And this, they've found neural tissue in the heart, the actual physical heart, also in the gut, because our gut is intelligent as well. That's your gut feeling. That's a whole nother lecture. Manipura, this, your solar plexus chakra. This is the tricky one. Okay. This is the one that gets you into trouble. This is the one where we can be, a lot of the lower emotions, the attachment comes from here. This is where our desire comes from. When we lift the desire up into anahata and up into our body nature, desire becomes for the good of all, if you like, rather than our own personal desires. But people always give Manipura a bad press, and it's not a chakra that, when it's working really well, this is where a lot of your will comes from, your will to do, your will to be. And so with right thought and right intention, it becomes a very powerful place to work from. But you've got to have that silent observer, being happy to be honest and truthful, and have a look at what's coming out of this chakra. When it's lifted up, especially when the energy is lifted up into anahata, but you know, you've got the will aspect here, you've got the communication here, and you've got the heart, and you bring them together, and that's where it's powerful. Swadhisthana, again, it's your creativity, it's how you express your desires in the world, it's how you express who you are. You can create your will from here. It can come service. You know, it gets another one that gets bad press, the sacral, but it can be very positive. It can have incredible creative energy. Same with Muladhara, which is your base chakra. This is where we ground, where we connect with the earth. It's where to-do comes from. It's where our actions come from. It's where we connect with nature, our physical health. I just want to talk a little bit about grounding. Does everyone know what I mean when I say grounding? Yeah. So someone who's grounded, what kind of qualities do they have? What would you say, someone who's grounded?
Steady track, aren't they?
Yeah. They're steady, they're focused, they're on track, they're balanced, they're positive, they're in touch, they're a rock, they're definitely a rock. Okay, so they're in touch, they're grounded literally means to be in touch with the energies of the earth. And there's energy coming up out of the earth to do with us spinning around in space. I don't know the science of it, but there's energy coming up through the ground all the time. Comes up through your feet. When you connect consciously with that energy, you connect with the abundance of the earth. So people who are grounded tend to be okay with abundance. They tend to be abundant in nature, and they tend to attract abundance. They tend to be rather good at attracting money and things. So if you're having a problem with that one, you need to be grounded. Okay, it really, you need the ideas up here coming in, inspiration from the solar, but you need to ground it in the Mother Earth. Okay, you need the two to go forward from here. So grounding, you know how to ground yourself? Do you know how to connect? If you're feeling, if your head's buzzing and everything's up here, which so much of our world is, just bring yourself down. There's lots of yoga you can do, but some of the most fundamental ways to ground is to get out on the ground. So whether it's on the grass or get out in the garden, or ideally with your shoes off. Walking on wet grass grounds you really quickly. Water grounds you. You can do, there's little things you can do. Let's do something. I may have done this with you before, I don't know. Would you stand up for a minute? It's just to stop you all going to sleep. Okay, you can do this with your shoes on, it doesn't matter. just bend your knees slightly. So you've got a feeling of sinking down into the floor, and it doesn't matter how high up you are in a building, you can still ground to the earth. So just become aware of a point in the middle of your foot, just below the pads on the top. So right in the centre, or just below the ball of your foot. And just imagine there's almost like roots growing down through this floor, through the next layer, right down through the concrete, down to the earth. So just sit with that for a minute. Now what I want you to do is I want you to imagine that there's little gaps underneath your toes. I want you to breathe in through those gaps under your toes, breathe along the sole of your foot and breathe out through your heel. And do it about 9 times. When you finish, just open your eyes so you know you're with me. How do your feet feel?
Heavy.
Heavy? You feel like you've got big boots on?
Yes.
Okay, that's grounded. That's quite an extreme grounded. If you feel like you can't move, you might be too grounded. No. That feeling, I just wanted you to have that feeling of being connected. Of being connected to this planet, this beautiful planet that we are part of, and we forget. We try to think that we live separately, but we can't. So I'll let you sit down. You can move your feet, they will move. So just to sum up for a minute or two, why do we consciously why do we need to raise our vibration? Because it's the single most important service we give to mankind. And there are a lot of amazing benefits for ourselves as well. Right? So that we can live our soul's purpose, so that we can get in touch with that soul energy that comes down. How do we do that? And I've talked about lots of ways you can do that. But it starts with that silent observer, so meditation is probably the most important. And then starting to look at your thoughts and emotions in terms of right relations within yourself, right relations with other people. And then these other external things in your environment can help. Becoming aware of how different environments and people affect you and looking after your own energy. And so it's okay to say no when you don't like an energy environment, or a person is stepping over your energy boundaries. Okay, that's giving yourself permission to look after your own energy. I know as a single mum with 4 kids, if I don't look after my own energy, we're all fried. Basically, everything goes to pieces. I've not been well the last week, and I've had another knock on the door lesson about looking after my energy. So I do speak from a place of experience there. That you do serve, you can only be the best you can be when you look after your energy. So all these other things just tend to nurture, but the key thing is meditation in my experience, in my opinion. Does anyone have any questions?
I'd just like to say about the water, I found the sun streams into my kitchen window.
Yeah.
And you sort of think, well, I've always thought, well, I love iced water, I like it because that's nice. But suddenly I just, for no particular reason, started to leave my water in the sunlight.
Yeah.
And you'd think, oh, that would be yuck, but it's so beautiful, just the place where I leave it. And it's quite by accident, well, I think it's by accident, but it happens.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's
Blessing water.
Yeah.
Blessing your water, blessing your food, just a moment's thanks for this food completely changes the vibration of that food. So we can start to understand.
Yeah, there's a lovely DVD. I don't know if some people may have heard it called Babette's Feast.
Yes.
Did you know? Do you know it?
Yeah.
And it's amazing. It was given to me by I sort of had a spiritual director in the days when I was in Catholicism, and he said you must watch this, and I sort of didn't quite understand what
Yeah.
to get it, but as I've travelled through Theosophy, then now I understand.
Now you understand.
Yeah, amazing.
That's wonderful.
Mm.
Any other questions, comments, observations?
Yeah, I have a question. It's about past karma. How do you dissolve past karma? Say if you've done a lot of bad things in your life. Or do you have any ideas about that?
My only idea about that in terms of what we're talking about today, I kind of have this understand, and I don't know if I truly understand karma. I don't know if anybody truly understands karma, but I have this idea that my soul, when I came into this incarnation, I had a checklist to say, I don't know, probably quite a few things in this lifetime it seems to be ticking off. And they will be karmic, some of those. Now, I could choose in this lifetime to completely ignore that list that my soul came in with. Say I had 5 fundamental things I want to deal with in this lifetime. Now, if we have free will. I have the choice to totally have a lifetime where I don't work off any karma at all. Or I can choose to have a lifetime where I work off all 5 boxes and I go through a lot of pain, a lot of suffering, and a lot of what it takes to tick off those boxes. If my vibration is high and I'm in contact with my soul, I'm going to tick off those boxes a whole lot quicker and easier than if it isn't. So that would be that's how I see it within myself. I suspect I have come into this life with quite a long list, quite a lot of karma to tick off. But by getting involved in what I'm involved in, by my soul pulling me to these things, it's helping me to do that, to make the best use of this incarnation, if you like. But I could be wrong with that. I'll leave that up to you. There's a neat question. Thank you.
Regarding eating meat and so on, does that really have an effect on our energy? If if you have it just once every now and then, doesn't it? Is that okay?
What I personally, I think different people are different.
Yeah.
I think if your body's telling you intuitively to eat meat, eat really good quality meat. Do you know what I mean? Some people's bodies, I think, need meat.
Yes.
And if you can eat good quality meat that's been prepared with love, that's, brilliant. I don't necessarily say you have to be, you have to look at the whole picture. If you're doing a whole lot of other things in your life to raise your vibration, it might mean that you can also get away with doing, for example, alcohol, not good for your vibration at all. But if you're doing lots of other practices in your life so that your energy field is good and clear, it probably means that you can have some alcohol and it doesn't have too much of a negative effect. Right. Because it works on the emotional body, for example, with alcohol, if your emotional body's not in a good place, it will just make it 10 times worse. So I think meat is the same. Right. Obviously we have knowledge about eating too much meat in terms of our physical body. But in terms of, I think it's more intuition, there's more intuition there. For example, I don't eat red meat now, but when I was pregnant with twins, I craved red meat like crazy. I could sit there and eat a lamb shank all myself, and my husband at the time was looking at me like I was from another planet because it was so out of character. But my body was screaming at me to eat red meat. And obviously if you're growing twins, you probably need, so much as my philosophy in my mind probably would have preferred to have done it all vegetarian, that wasn't the way to do it. And so very much getting into contact, know thyself.
Yes.
And what's right. Yeah. So I wouldn't prescribe.
No. I've just felt lately it's right for me to have a,
Yeah. Well, I would say just go for the highest
but definitely
quality.
I will bless it in future.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure Julie can back me up, but there's nothing like having your own animals where
That's
you
right.
where
Well,
you
that-
bring, where you
it-
know
it
what they've
really
been
does.
Well,
fed,
that's it. Well, that's
what you
exactly.
give them love.
But there's
Make a
love
difference.
there, isn't
Well, you
there?
see,
Yeah.
that's what
Yes.
I've been eating lately,
Yes.
where they've been loved, and
Yeah.
and I know where it's coming from.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think as well, fish and chicken, it doesn't seem so bad.
No.
Because
No.
the chemistry of a mammal is going to affect your circulatory system. The hormones, the chemistry
Yeah.
from a mammal is the same as from a human, because we're mammals too.
That's right.
So if somebody is diabetic, they can give you pig insulin, and it works. If an animal is going into slaughter and it's terrified,
Stress.
Yeah.
it's
That's
producing
right.
all this adrenaline. You
That's
eat
right.
the meat,
Of
and
course,
the
it's
adrenaline
an
goes
effect.
into you.
That's exactly
And
right.
I was reading recently about some slaughtermen that were having a game with their animals before they kill them, because it's a bit like the British soldiers torturing the prisoners that
Yes.
they've got. It's like once you've got to kill something, it seems to depreciate its value, and they're
It can
showing
be
off
an
to each
honourable,
other.
but
Yeah.
it can be different to
And,
that. It can be
yeah.
completely honourable, and it can be, you know, it's said. I can't remember which book I read recently. You know, the animal kingdom is here in some ways. Each kingdom sacrifices for the kingdom above, and you know, part of the wheel of life, part of the cycle of life, is that sacrifice, and it's just energy.
Well, that's true, but I think, again, organic, the milk from an organic
Yeah.
herd is much better because the calves are not taken away. You know, if we could all keep our own animals, and if we all had the responsibility of killing them, there'd be a lot more vegetarians.
I was just going to say there'd be a lot more vegetarians. I think.
And then we did it for a while, and we tried keeping pigs, cattle, sheep, goats. We kept them all, and now we just eat fish and chicken. When you've got Betty and she's got 2 lambs, and you've got to
I
take
know,
them to
yeah,
slaughter,
yeah.
you end up,
Well,
you can't eat them.
what's really bad is when you take them to a butcher, and he
Yes.
says, "I'm sorry, I can't kill them," because they look at me.
Well, I would be the same.
But Beryl's son works over on the Merry Straits now collecting mussels, and the mussels that they collect are hand-picked
Yes.
as opposed to dredged, and they're high quality
It
mussels.
makes a
Well,
huge
So they
difference.
must stress
It
as well.
makes a huge difference.
Oh yes, that is really bad.
I mean, why do tomatoes not taste like tomatoes anymore?